These terms of service terms are part of the user agreement, a legally binding contract governing your use of X. You should read these terms of service terms in full, but here are a few key things you should take away.
Don't be Elon Musk. I feel like cutting you off right there. That was like one of those perfectly cut moments,
yes, like perfectly cut screams. That was beautiful.
Perfectly cut screams.
That was
I
beautiful.
love the perfectly cut scream.
Yes, good job. Good job also to the Eagles. Good job as well to anyone who bet the Eagles. Bad job to the Chiefs. Bad job to Mahomes and the offensive line. Ooh, boy, that was bad. Bad job to the Hornets team doctor. Good job to the Lakers team doctor, apparently. Yeah, anyone you want to say good job to?
Good job to Jared Verse for winning D-Roy. We'll talk more about that later, but we're here, episode 107, recapping the Super Bowl, immediate aftermath, not just for the Super Bowl teams, but for just about everybody else out there.
Yeah.
And then
we're all in Cancun now. The Eagles just have a ring. We're all in Cancun. I guess the Eagles are in Disney World. Everyone else is in Cancun.
Jalen Hurts is in Disney World.
Okay. Have you been to Disneyland before?
I have.
Okay.
Like 3 times, I think.
Fun. I've been to Disney World, never out to Disneyland. So it's funny. I've seen the clip of when the quarterbacks say it, and it's like a pretty even split of ones that say, I'm going to Disneyland and I'm going to Disney World. And it's like a perfect split of where they're from or what team they're on. Like Joe Montana, California, or is he from California? He was on the 49ers. That's the point. But when he said it was, I'm going to Disney World across the country.
And then you have like when the Rams won a few years back, everybody, there was like Aaron Donald was there, Cooper Kupp was there, Matthew Stafford was there, like all their kids and their wives were all there together, and they all said they're going to Disneyland. And Disneyland is like in Anaheim, which is right next to LA. So like that one
5 minutes away.
A given. So
yeah. So no. I think I would. I've obviously been to Disney World a couple times. I think I'd be nice to go to Disneyland. I need to make a California trip. I'm really really sad that I didn't make it to Oakland for the Ricky Henderson bobblehead night last year. So this year I think I need to go to Sacramento.
Yeah, I think I need to go to Disney World at some point soon. But I'm in California, so I'm on the other side of the country, so that's like a hope and a prayer right now.
I'm going to look at the Athletics promotional schedule. If they have a Ricky bobblehead, I'm going to a Ricky bobblehead. They have a Ricky Henderson rally towel opening day in March. Ricky Henderson t-shirt in April. A basketball jersey at the end of April. A straw hat, cooler bag. Brent Rooker bobblehead. Mason Miller bobblehead.
I kind of like the straw hat giveaways because they're the ones that you can see the easiest in the stands. Like I remember the Dodgers had one last season, and you could see everybody, the whole crowd was wearing the straw hats. So
nice.
It was funny.
Huh. They have a Lawrence Butler bobblehead against the Braves, but it's right before the All-Star break. And the All-Star break is in Atlanta. So that would be too much. Hat, A's throwback shirt, crew neck sweatshirt. Jack, I want you live. Look at the Dodgers promotional schedule, please.
All right, let's do it.
Live reaction. There's 3 games in particular I want you to note.
Why did I autofill with 2023? I'm trying to find 2025.
Take me back to the 2023 baseball season.
Can I ask where you're...
It is a series against a certain team in Southern California.
Can I ask where you're seeing this? Because I can't...
Oh.
Is it on MLB.com or?
I just typed in Dodgers promotional schedule.
Let's see.
Dang, it's really Braves Dodgers the second week of the season.
So there's 4 right now that I see.
Ah, okay. Well,
and I think is this season? This should be this season, yeah, because there's Shohei and Freddie. They have an Oral Hershiser jersey against the Detroit Tigers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, scroll down to
and they have the
16th through 18th of June.
Oh,
June
here we
16th.
go. I see the whole list. There's a hoodie.
Yep.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
There's 3 of them.
Maybe. I don't. I see. I'm pretty sure what you're talking about is the World Series replica trophy against the Padres.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
And the Blake Snell bobblehead against the Padres.
I don't know if I'm looking close enough. I don't see Blake Snell anywhere just yet. But
yeah, the Blake Snell bobblehead's the June 16th.
Oh, they don't have pictures, but there's stuff.
No.
Okay, yeah, I didn't look close enough. They have World Series rings, which are awesome. I need to go there for one of those.
I'm mad I didn't pick up the $151 cheeseburger and replica World Series ring at the Braves games.
Ohtani MVP bobblehead. There's an Ohtani 50-50 bobblehead.
Yeah.
Dave Roberts bobblehead.
Oh, there's a Hello Kitty plush. That's cool.
Yeah, the Dodgers kind of have a thing with Hello Kitty. So.
That Braves. Okay, Braves Dodgers that first week of the season. That's a good series.
Yeah. Is Ohtani? Does that bobblehead? Is that like him wearing a belt, or is that like the MVP trophy?
Yeah, that's just the MVP trophy.
Okay, yeah.
Just
like it looks like a wrestling belt from a distance.
No, it's just the regular player belt.
I guess that would make a bit more sense than it's just the. I didn't know what the MVP trophy looked like, but now I do, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like a plaque with the name on it. All right. Well, there's our little bit of ramble to start the show. Get some Dodger trolling, but from one champion to another champion, let's talk about a certain Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to spell it like the mayor did.
And I'm not going to spell it like their fans do either. Congratulations, you guys can spell the first grade level.
Jets, Jets. By the way, the only AFC quarterback to beat the Eagles in the last 2 years was Zach Wilson.
Insanity.
Yeah,
that was. I remember that. I was following that. It was the Eagles and the Niners were like the last 2 undefeated teams left. Mm-hmm. And I was following that from the stands of the racetrack in Las Vegas. I was like seeing everything unfold on my screen, and I was like, I was reacting to the 49ers loss. I could get that game on my phone, but then there was like the I couldn't get the Rams game on my phone, but they kicked ass against Arizona. But the it just, I'm going off on a tangent there, but it was just funny that I remember how like I was where I was when that all played out. But yeah. Eagles. I don't really want to say it was one of the most impressive Super Bowl runs of all time, but they were just kind of one of those teams. It's like, all right, when they get going and you can't keep pace with them, good luck. And that was sort of the case throughout the whole postseason, where I feel like, I don't want to sound biased, I will sound biased, but I feel like the Rams were kind of the only team that really gave the Eagles any kind of a fight. The opening round against, who did they play in the opening round?
Green Bay.
Yeah, that one wasn't really that close. And then the Rams game came down to the last possession. Rams probably would have won if they didn't miss the block. And then domination against Washington and domination against Kansas City. Vic Fangio called a perfect game in the Super Bowl. He did. Like, when you shut down Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, all those guys.
Slow down. They did not shut down Xavier Worthy.
Not entirely.
157 yards.
But they did. They shut him down to the point where he was not effective until by the time it was
that's fair.
Late. So
that's fair. And a third of those yards came with 3 minutes to go. That's fair. Okay, I want to give some flowers out. First off, flowers to the Los Angeles Rams, because they were the only team that played like a real NFL team against the Eagles. There you go. Yeah, hang the banner.
A I'll draw it. If I can find a marker, I'll draw the banner on the wall.
Okay, number 2. I want to give flowers to the Eagles front 4.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio called 0 blitzes. 0. The Eagles never rushed more than they needed to. 0. This wasn't like maybe once in a while. Never. No blitzes. No funny business. They got home with 4. Most times Mahomes has been sacked in a game. There was a sequence, 5 dropbacks, included 3 sacks, a pick 6, and another interception. Just a preposterous defensive performance. And it was just awe-inspiring. It was magnificent. All 3 levels played spectacularly. Flowers, Zach Bond, Flowers, Howie Roseman. Those are connected. Zach Bond was an edge rusher for the Saints. Like I remember doing the scouting report for him. He's like a tweener type edge or linebacker. You know, maybe he'd be better at one, maybe he'd be better at the other. You know, I thought he'd be a better linebacker that can blitz more. The Saints are like, we're going to use him as the edge. It's like, okay, fine. Then he goes to the Eagles, and they're like, we're going to make you just an off-ball linebacker. And he was the best off-ball linebacker in football this season. I can safely say that now because Fred Warner did not play in the playoffs. Bond was unbelievable the entire season. Major props to him. Congratulations on the All-Pro nod. I hope he made the Pro Bowl. If he didn't, that's a snub. But just a magnificent season for Bond. And Howie Roseman, once again, this is a masterclass in team building. What's the weak link? The weak link on the Eagles is arguably the quarterback, and Jalen Hurts is the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. So if that's the floor, if everything is better than 5th, you're dominant, right? We can quibble where Saquon is on the running back hierarchy. He's top 3. You know, we can quibble with the receiver core, if it's like top 1 or top 2, but it's a top 5 unit with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Jahan Dotson nearly had the first touchdown of the game. Offensive line is 1 or 2 in the league. The defensive line's top 5. The linebackers are top 5. The secondary's top 5. The only issue is the special teams, but who cares? Like Jake Elliott's missed 1 field goal in his life in the playoffs. So, Howie Roseman, flowers for you, my friend.
Yeah, great team building there. I mentioned the Zach Bond pick too. Like that came at a very, very crucial time of the game. The way he dove and caught that ball, and the Eagles were automatically set up in scoring position. And it's just like
a backbreaking that end of the season, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I thought the Chiefs defense. I would give flowers to the Chiefs defense. I know it says 40 on the scoreboard. I get it. That's bad. But it was really 23. The Eagles' average starting field position, I got this from Brett Coleman. Eagles' average starting field position on their real drives was the 43-yard line. So
that alone is insane. Like just starting your normal drives in the 45 is very good.
And you had a pick 6 in there, so that's 7 points. You have the pick before the half, which gift wrapped the Eagles a touchdown, essentially. A gift wrap them points. You can say, oh, a real defense would have held them to 3, or a real defense would have immediately picked them off. Be serious. And then the field goal that made it 40-6, Mahomes fumble. The Eagles don't move the ball, and they kick a 47-yard field goal. So Mahomes gave them 17 points. So I think holding the Eagles to 23 points is a win. Sorry. So the Kansas City defense, Trent McDuffie lost his first ever playoff game. I don't want to say rest easy because you got annihilated in the Super Bowl, and there's probably some mistakes you can clean up, but like all things considered, I thought the defense played pretty well.
The Super Bowl is that type of game though, where like you're never gonna be like not annoyed by it in some regard. Like if the Chiefs go on to win next season and the year after that, hopefully not, but if that's like the case for the Chiefs, like they will still, I think, look back and be like, damn, what if? Like Seahawks fans, now granted with the Seahawks, I think this is a bit of an extreme because it was one of the worst mistakes of a play call in history, honestly. But you know, they won this. A lot of people don't talk about how the Seahawks literally won the Super Bowl the year before the pass of the 1 yard line. Yeah. And that loss still haunts them. As a Rams fan, I'm still a little bit haunted by 53. They won in 56 a few years later, so it's like I have something good to look back on. But I think about 53, and I'm like, damn, what if? So
yeah, and hey, I even like the Ravens. I've said this before. I'll say it again. The 2012 Ravens are spectacularly mid. So I think about 2014 a lot. I think about 2019 a lot. I think about 2020, 2023 and 2024 a lot. I don't think about 2012, but the Ravens actually did win the thing, like with Harbaugh, with Massage Man at kicker. Oh God. Imagine for a moment the Ravens had like made the Super Bowl and that broke the week of the Super Bowl.
I would scream.
I would
be like, why right now?
Jordan Stout. Hey, Jordan Stout did kick in college, but who would hold? That's the problem. I don't know. I wonder if every team like listed their emergency holder. I wonder who it would be. Probably a lot of slot receivers.
Yeah, I think it's receivers. Like I think the Rams in 2018, the Rams, Johnny Hekker was the punter, Greg Zuerlein was the kicker. And I think week 2 against Arizona, Zuerlein had like some kind of a problem and he ended up not playing the game. So Johnny Hekker, the punter, was their kicker. And he was kicking field goals and stuff like that. And Cooper Kupp had to hold the ball.
Yeah, that checks out.
So I think usually it's like a receiver.
Speaking of Cooper Kupp, I would like to not apologize, but I would like to verify Saquon Barkley did not overtake Cooper Kupp in the hierarchy of all-time skill position player seasons. It doesn't matter to me that Saquon broke the scrimmage yards record. It doesn't matter to me that he broke the rushing yards for a season record. He folded like a lawn chair in the Super Bowl. His team won. They were by 34 points with 3 minutes to go, and Saquon was miserable. Like he was under 3 yards a carry in the biggest game of his life. So great season for Saquon. Kupp had the best game of his life in the Super Bowl. So
Kupp we'll talk a little bit more too because we're going to touch on the offseason a little bit, but like we'll talk about Cooper Kupp soon because there is something that broke like right after we got off the air last week. So we definitely need to touch on that. But yeah, I agree. Saquon was not really a factor in this game.
No.
I thought that would be a big reason why that the Eagles would make it competitive. My prediction obviously was way off. I predicted the same score as the last Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. And I said that DeAndre Hopkins would be the MVP. Like they would target him a lot. Right? And he scored, he did score a touchdown, but it was one of the too little too late touchdowns. So.
Yeah. Alabama. Flowers to Alabama. First time they've had a draftee score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Devontae Smith.
There you go.
Now, famously, I, being of a sort of sicko kind of sports fan, I know that Jalen Hurts went to Alabama, but he was drafted out of Oklahoma, technically. So that's one of the technically true things. So Alabama had a Super Bowl MVP before they had a touchdown score in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. If you were to ask me, the backbreaker in this game was that Devontae Smith touchdown. I think it was the third quarter, like near the start of the third quarter, something like that. And Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt were talking about how the Eagles just need to kind of burn a little bit of clock at that point. And instead, Jalen Hurts just launches a nuke right to Devontae Smith, falls right into his hands for a touchdown. And I'm like, that is the game. Chiefs are not coming back from that.
That'll do it. Yeah, just the moment I thought this game was over was the Zach Bond interception, because we've seen it before. The Chiefs get the ball end of the second quarter, they go down, they get points. They get the ball to start the third quarter, they go down and they get points. And let's say one of them's a field goal, one of them's a touchdown. The Eagles get the ball, they're up 7. It's 17-10 or 17-14. It's like, oh God, right? That sense sets in, but the Eagles go down and score. The Chiefs kneel it out. It's 24-0 going to the halftime. You get to watch Kendrick Lamar, and then the Chiefs come out flat to start the third quarter. It's like, okay, it's over. Like it's over, and it is. Credit to the Eagles. Saquon wasn't even working properly, and they still like chewed up the clock. They had like 36 minutes time of possession. That was just a tour de force how to play football. And so before we move on, Jack, my question for you is, what do the Chiefs fix? Give you some history here. Their previous playoff losses with Mahomes comes with a very immediate and very obvious change. 2018, they lose to the Patriots. They go get a new defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. 2019, they win the Super Bowl. 2020, they lose in the Super Bowl. Immediately, they go revamp the offensive line. 2021, they lose. They immediately trade Tyreek Hill and revamp get high-end defensive players, like they drafted McDuffie. 2022, they win the Super Bowl. 2023, win the Super Bowl. What did they do in 2024?
I think you have to look at another O-line revamp. I think that was probably, I feel like there's a fair amount of games where you could look back and say that Mahomes was not playing at his best, and pressure is probably a big reason why. I don't remember every game exactly on the Chiefs' schedule, but I will say that that was the biggest problem in the Super Bowl, is that Mahomes never. Tom Brady kept pointing it out too, and I 100% agreed. You look at the way Mahomes was moving his feet in the pocket and everything, he never got comfortable back there under center. And when you can get that kind of pressure without even dialing up a blitz, your O-line needs help.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you can fix that, you've got the weapons. If they hold on to DeAndre Hopkins, obviously Xavier Worthy they'll have. He's a rookie. They'll have Travis Kelce. If Patrick Mahomes can get more comfortable in the pocket, and he has the kind of targets that he has, the Chiefs should be fine.
Another shout out, Patrick Mahomes was the leading rusher for the Chiefs. That was not by design. They just couldn't run the ball. My proposed change is Matt Nagy out as OC.
That too.
Like, what are we doing? Chiefs, can we be for real? Like, why are we trying the Matt Nagy thing? Like, I get that he's a bit of a figurehead because you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, do you really need an offensive coordinator? No, but get a real offensive coordinator, please. Sorry, Matt Nagy, but all right.
Yeah, it was not working out for him.
Any final words on the Superb Owl?
I don't love the fact that I have to listen to Eagles fans now for a whole offseason, but whatever. I guess you do either way, so.
And obligatory, what are your thoughts on the score bug?
I was talking to people on Twitter, and I thought that the 2021 that the Fox used, that they should just go back to that without the cartoon drawings. I feel like that one was pretty simple. No like overly cartoony graphics or anything like that. But the last one that they had before this score bug was a lot better. This one, there is a way to do simplistic, and this was not it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. As I watched more and more of the game, I thought, it's clean. It's not intrusive. I like having the abbreviations. I
think there's got to be logos in there somewhere.
Yeah, the logos, it can be a lot sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it did some things right, did some things wrong. So
I agree. I agree with that.
I liked it for like a Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd like it every single game on the Fox slate.
I think there needs to be like a black, like a translucent box behind it or something. If you know what that means. Like so you can,
so it's not just floating.
Yeah, because like what happens if it snows? You just have white numbers on top of like a white field or something like that.
That's true.
There are other parts of it that are hard to read when there's no background behind it. Like you can't have that many like floating pieces to a score bug. Yeah, so if they added like a box behind it or something and made a tweak, then I think it would actually be better because it would be readable. Minimalist, sure, but it would actually be a bit more like,
that's true,
easier to process. So, although
I miss?
What do you miss?
Oh, I miss 2-minute warning and later old Fox score bugs when it would be red numbers.
Oh, they should do that. Yeah,
that'd be cool. I missed that. Like, I'll pull up a picture while we're sitting here. But
what I was gonna say is that I do like how they have they actually have text for each team that looks like it's actually like in the Fox logo font. That font never gets used for anything. I'm glad they actually like try to use that font. So
yeah, very cool. It's that Super Bowl. Where is it?
I feel like it's weird how we've grown accustomed nowadays to just having the score bug at the bottom of the screen when it used to always be at the top. And now it's just like it's always on the bottom for everything, and it's like, all right, fine, whatever. I think it just depends on the sport, honestly. Like in football, I think having it at the bottom actually is better because you should be able to like see the ball moving through the air, like when it's being passed. But then in a sport like hockey, you could probably put it at the top because the puck is on the ice the whole time. So.
Right. And I don't know. I think, for the longest time there was no score bug. There was no information, and people got mad that we have like you're giving the score, and people were mad that you'd have the score on the screen. Okay, that's not what I want. Let's see. David Tyree catch. Okay, here we go. No, I don't want an ad. I don't drink. Okay, let me get the screen share set.
Ads are miserable.
Facts. Sponsored by. Okay. Hear me out. Hear me out. This right here. Can I zoom in, please? Yes.
Yeah, you can. Wow.
This right here brings me so much joy. This right here butters my bread. This right here is what. Can you see my cursor?
I can't see your cursor.
Okay, so the 115 in red, just yes. Women out there, this is what I like. This is my type right here. This is beautiful. This is art. This is perfect. I don't know why we ever changed. It's like you get the blue to denote that the Giants have the football. Giants, Patriots, time, score, quarter,
yardage,
down and distance. The only downside is you don't have the timeouts listed.
Yeah, I think if this was me in the future, I would probably make the numbers the numbers a little bit bigger in terms of like compared to the team abbreviations, but it's still readable. It's still there. And then I think the only thing that score bugs are missing nowadays in football is they should add like what Madden has, which is a indicator of like what yard line the ball's on.
Yes,
I think they should do that. That's like the one bit of information that would help a lot. So
yeah, and the same thing here. The Boise State Fiesta Bowl. It's like time, score. I just like the aesthetic with like the red. It feels like it means something, right? It feels like it's different for if there was like 3:12 to go. That's different from 1:12 to go. Like 1:12 left in the game. In this case, in a bowl game or in the Super Bowl, in the championship game. It just feels different. And at least here you have the 1st and 10 on the screen itself.
I think that the NHL actually did this during NBC's last year, where they broadcasted the NHL like nationally instead of just the local teams. Now they had the score bug totally changed for whatever reason, like during the playoffs in their last year, and like it was like a diamond shape when the where the score and like the time was, like the period in time, and I think like during the last 10 seconds it turned red. So I feel like turning the clock red in a score bug is a nice touch because it kind of like lets you know like there's pressure now, they're running out of time, you gotta kind of do something about it.
These are, I kind of like the Prime one actually.
Yeah, the Prime one's really cool. The Prime one's
if
cool.
it didn't say like Prime, that'd be cool.
I think it kind of just has to though, but
yeah, that's true.
It's just one of those things that you live with.
Yeah. The Victory Plus looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
The Bally, that's the same as they always have for every sport.
FanDuel now, but it's blue. But that's like that. It's the same ticker.
Yeah. TNT and ESPN are pretty clean. Do you like having the shots count on?
I do.
Okay.
That used to not be a thing, and then one year randomly, I think Fox started doing it with the regional networks, and it was like, all right, well, that just needs to be there now. Yeah, this we went from talking about the Super Bowl to talking about score bugs. That's what the show is entailed.
Yes, beautiful.
We could go on all day about score bugs,
Yeah,
honestly.
jerseys and score bugs. We're here like probably 15 minutes about the Super Bowl, 15 minutes about the score bug. All right. Any final notes before we get into something that makes me very sad?
Not really. I think I've touched on it all.
Okay.
For now.
Great. All right. One drink, and then I will descend into my rant.
I'll join you there. NFL honors, I assume, is where we're going with this.
Yeah. I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed.
I was going to say, you're very disappointed.
I am very disappointed. There are 27 voters that looked at their MVP ballot and said, yep, Lamar Jackson is not as valuable as Josh Allen this season. I would like to know why, but I have some answers to why I think you're incorrect. So let's begin. One popular notion was the Pro Bowlers argument. I'll say it's the Pro Bowlers argument. It also includes the All-Pro argument, similar. But people would go on and look at a Pro Bowl roster, look at the All-Pro roster, and pick out the Ravens and pick out the Bills and say, oh, wow, the Ravens had 9 Pro Bowlers and the Bills had 2. And that was the end of the analysis. And I would like to point out that we complain about the Pro Bowl rosters every year. We say it's a popularity contest every year, but then we all of a sudden use it to like demolish Lamar in the MVP conversation. Oh, he played with so many Pro Bowlers. Did you think Roquan Smith played like a Pro Bowler this season? Hint, he didn't. I watched every game. He didn't. Do you think Patrick Ricard being a All-Pro, Pro Bowl fullback matters? Be so serious. You can't even name the Bills fullback besides Josh Allen. If you're telling me that Josh Allen is more valuable than Lamar Jackson because Lamar plays with an all-pro fullback, you have missed the plot. You have missed the plot entirely. So you look back at that number. If you are being serious about football, being serious about your football watching, the 9-2 gap really should be like a 5-4 gap. And frankly, the 5-4 gap is a fullback, right? Because Ricard, fair enough, fullback, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, whatever. Fair enough. But he counts the same as Josh Allen does. And the Bills would not make that trade. Obviously. But Patrick Ricard, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, check, looks horrendous for Lamar. Why? Josh Allen, not an All-Pro 1. Oh, maybe Ricard's a better player. If you tried to say that, that'd be stupid. But when you are reductive and say 9 Pro Bowlers to 2 or X number of All-Pros to 0, you're missing the forest for individual trees, right? And the context of the situation is, yes, the Ravens have more. Even if I boiled it down and gave it what I genuinely thought, the Ravens would have more Pro Bowlers and the Ravens had more All-Pros. But it's not 9-2. It's like 5-4 in the Pro Bowlers and like 3-1 in All-Pros. And that is defensive players. And by the way, the Bills defense was pretty good this season. They gave Josh Allen the number 1 average field position in the NFL. They led the NFL in fumbles recovered. They were 3rd in the NFL in total takeaways. They had the highest percentage of opponent drives end in a turnover. And that's just like a piecemeal-y sort of way. And yes, they allowed 40 points to the Rams. And yes, they allowed 40 points to the Lions. So the score, their points allowed got inflated. But at the end of the year, they allowed 7 more points than the Ravens. But you're telling me the Ravens defense was so much better and all pros better and Pro Bowlers better? Please respect Christian Benford. If anyone lost, truly, it wasn't Lamar, it wasn't Josh Allen. It was Christian Benford, and it was the rest of the Bills defense, because that's a really darn good unit and with a lot of excellent players. But we've spent the last month saying, well, Josh Allen has no help. Everyone on the team sucks besides Josh Allen. So Josh Allen is carrying this worthless piece of garbage to 13 wins. It's like, bro, every year we're like, oh, the Bills have a great defense. Oh, the Bills have a great offense. Oh, they have this load of talent. If you take Josh Allen out, they're the best roster in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. And then this year, all of a sudden, a lot of the pieces are still there. Von Miller is still a big name. You're like, oh, it's not as good. Roquan Smith is not as good, but he got into the Pro Bowl and All-Pro team on name recognition. So please be quiet on that argument. Oh, Von Miller and Matt Milano. I know he missed a chunk of the year, but he's still very good. Terrell Bernard had a great season. Christian Benford, as I've said, was a top 5 corner this year. Sorry, that's the truth, but he doesn't make a Pro Bowl. He doesn't make an All-Pro team because voters are idiots and fans are idiots. Oh, and my second point, it's valuable, yes, that the Bills beat the Lions and beat the Chiefs, both number 1 seeds. Congratulations. Those are the only 2 wins the Bills had over playoff teams, but those were the 2 teams to beat. However, they still got the 1 seed. That game did not influence the 1 seeds at all. Like it did not influence the 1 seeds. The Chiefs still got to rest week 18. If the Chiefs had won that game, nothing changes for the Bills. Okay, the Bills play their starters against the Patriots and beat the Patriots, and they're still the 2 seed. If the Lions beat the Bills, nothing changes. They would have been the 1 seed anyways. So, yes, congratulations. You beat those games. Those were not impactful games for the seeding of the Chiefs or the Lions or the Bills. The only difference is you got to rest your starters against the worst team in the NFL. The Patriots had the number 1 overall pick before they played Buffalo week 18. Congratulations. At least when Lamar was beating teams at the end of the season, when he beat Miami, that knocked Miami out of the 1 seed, knocked them to the 2 seed. Then they lost the next week and dropped down all the way to the 5 seed. Or maybe the 6 seed even. Yeah, they dropped down to the 6 seed because Houston was the 4. But regardless, that's just a lame argument to me, and it counts 2 games of the season. And those are the same people that say, "Well, Lamar lost to the lost to the Browns and lost to the Raiders, so that disqualifies him," which is horse crap. There's 15 other games in the season, and Lamar wasn't even bad in those games. He was pretty good in those games. And it's not his fault they lost. The Browns game, Kyle Hamilton drops an interception that would have won the game, and the Raiders game, you had the fluky pick. The Spillane pick that's off a receiver's hand. You'd missed field goals in there from Massage Man. Just, it's a mess. And there are reasons to say Josh Allen's the MVP. Fine. I can listen to those. But the Pro Bowl argument's stupid. And we beat the number 1 seeds. Where are the other big wins? Lamar had a ton of them. Lamar is the reason the Bengals did not make the playoffs. Lamar beat every team in the AFC playoff picture besides his own and besides the Chiefs. Can we be for real?
Well, yeah, you ran out of the way.
Yeah.
Let me bring up the full list of NFL honors winners because it was quite. I'm still angry about Torrey Holt not making the Hall of Fame. Like, what the hell are we doing here at this point? Sterling Sharp got in though.
Jamar Chase got 0 Offensive Player of the Year votes, like 0 first place votes. That is a catastrophe. He won the Triple Crown. What are we doing?
People love to value or love to forget about impact on the regular season and stuff like that, or they think about it here, I guess, because they're inconsistent with it, I should say.
Yeah, it's
because
what are we doing?
Did he not win because the Bengals sucked and missed the playoffs?
That wasn't his fault.
Exactly.
He was the best. Again, I said this the last time. There's to me a better argument. There's a more sound argument that Jamar Chase was unquestionably the number 1 wide receiver than Saquon Barkley was unquestionably the number 1 running back, or Lamar was unquestionably the number 1 receiver, or number 1 quarterback. Chase had a bigger gap between 1 and 2 than Barkley did. I would argue Barkley wasn't even the best running back this year. I've argued that on this podcast or on this show. And then Lamar over Allen. But fair enough. You could have Allen over Lamar. It's not a gap. It's not much of a gap one way or the other. And at running back, it's not much of a gap one way or the other. I argued on this show Derrick Henry had a better season than Saquon Barkley. Saquon just had 100 extra yards, he had 20 extra carries, and an even better offensive line.
So we touched on Josh Allen MVP. Kevin O'Connell, Coach of the Year.
Which is funny because the 2 losses in the division were to second place Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I don't think I would have complained if Dan Campbell won it, but I think the reason why Kevin O'Connell won is because his starter went down and they won 14 games.
Did Campbell win it last year?
That's a good question.
Who won it last year? He was the Sportsnet Coach of the Year.
Kevin Stefanski won it in 2023.
Ah, that makes sense. Ah, yes. 2-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski.
The first time I could understand why. This time, I don't know about that. I don't know about that last year.
Well, you had the quarterback snafu with Watson. You're going to Joe Flacco. They won 11 games.
But I think that's why I give credit to Kevin O'Connell this year, because when JJ McCarthy was supposed to be their starter, and then he goes down with injury, he's out for the whole season, and you're relying on Sam Darnold, and based on his past track record, and then you go 14-3. Your only losses all year, including playoffs, are to the same two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I can understand why he won Coach of the Year.
27 players got a Comeback Player of the Year vote.
What else we got? Yeah, Joe Burrow was the Comeback Player of the Year.
Congratulations to Joe Shiesty.
He said it too. He said it's not an award you ever want to be nominated for. So,
and he's won it twice now.
Yeah, I hope that Joe Burrow works on staying healthy, and I hope that the Bengals work on getting him a better O-line, because he keeps taking hits like that. It's not good.
No.
Celebrate here, Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, big voting win.
Deserved.
By the way, there's some weird voting here. So Verse got 37 first place votes. Quinyon Mitchell got 9. Braden Fisk got 1. Then all the way down in 7th place, Tarheeb Steele got 1. Kalen Bullock got 1. And Mike Sanistril got 1. Sanistril finished 9th place. And he had more first place votes than Cooper DeJean, who finished 4th.
I don't know how the system claims to work anymore. I just don't. But yeah, Jared Verse, very, very, very well deserved. He is the guy for the Rams going forward. You lose Aaron Donald, then you instantly replace him with your guy, a rookie, who looks to be as dominant as ever. Because, obviously it's just been 1 year, but when you have a guy like Verse who talks his shit, backs it up, but then is humble enough to take a loss if he does lose, and is able to congratulate opponents and stuff like that, and still be classy at the end of it all. I think that's what it's all about. So, love to see it with Jared Verse.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, got 49 out of 50 first place votes, missed it by 1. Brock Bowers, who, fair enough, man, he had an awesome season.
Yeah, that's an award. O'Roy is an award that I feel like would go to a quarterback, but Brock Bowers is probably just as deserving. It's just I think that the difference there, in my opinion, is that Brock Bowers, as good as he was, didn't really move the needle for the Raiders. The Raiders were about as bad as we expected them to be, whereas the Commanders were in the NFC Championship game this past season because of Jaden Daniels. He absolutely was the needle mover there.
Okay. Defensive Player of the Year. This is a truly bizarre one. I said it last week that I wish you could give Lamar one award and Allen another award, because I don't think a defensive player Patrick Surtain, I don't think played at a Defensive Player of the Year level this season. He was an All-Pro. I thought he had a great season. I don't think he played at a Defensive Player of the Year season. I don't think Hendrickson, Garrett, Watt, I don't think any of them did. I would have voted for Zach Bond as the best of the group, but I thought he just had a great linebacker season, not a great Defensive Player of the Year season. But Kirby Joseph 6th, Andrew Van Ginkel 7th, Xavier McKinney 8th, Nick Benito 9th, Kyle Hamilton 10th. Jonathan Grenard got a first place vote. He finished 11th. I do want to give a shout out. Zach Allen tied for 15th. Micah Parsons tied for 17th. He didn't get shut out. Zaire Franklin tied for 17th. And I was just singing his praises. Christian Benford tied for 22nd. Good job, buddy. All right.
Did we touch on everything?
Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon won 35-12 to 1 to 1 to 1.
Saquon did his thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all we can see. He was 100 yards shy of Eric Dickerson's record. Eric Dickerson's, I'm pretty sure he said that he did not want the record to be broken, but he would congratulate him anyway if it happens. So whatever.
It happens.
I guess he probably wants a Ram to break it, but I don't know.
True. Funny thing, Lamar got 12 first place votes. Chase had 0. Lamar beat him by 12 total voting points. So when Lamar got first, he got first, but Chase would get like second or whatever. But then when Chase was ahead of Lamar, he was way ahead of Lamar. That's kind of funny. And of course, MVP from the bottom to the top. Baker Mayfield 11th, Sam Darnold 10th. Imagine that. By the way, 4 2018 quarterbacks received a vote for MVP this year. So Baker 11, Darnold 10, Herbert and Chase tied for 8th. Daniels 7, Mahomes 6, Goff 5, Burrow 4, Saquon 3, Lamar 2, and Josh Allen 1.
There you go.
I disagree. But man, I don't know. That rubs me the wrong way. It really does. I think I've said this previously. I don't think this was Allen's best season as a best season. I think if you were ranking the Allen seasons, it's not first. Maybe it's second. Like I would have it third. I'd have it certainly behind 2020. I guess the other years you can kind of quibble with, but I think it's certainly behind 2020. And then Lamar, this is clearly his best season, and I don't know if it's as valuable, quote unquote, as his 2019 season, but this is just a weird one to me. This is like unfortunate how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. It just is. So
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this season as a whole was kind of like the Eagles were kind of the only team that really got over their like respective humps.
Mm-hmm.
Bills couldn't beat the Chiefs in the play. They beat them in the regular season again, but they couldn't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs again. I guess the Rams kind of got over the 49ers hurdle now. No, I can't really think of any team that like did any kind of like demon exorcisms or anything this year.
Hey, Lamar Jackson beat the Steelers
Bears
twice.
Actually.
The Bears too.
Beat
Lamar beat the Steelers twice.
Okay, there you go.
Man, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, didn't win the MVP.
Jeez. He's in pain, folks.
He led the NFL in touchdown percentage by quite a bit, yards per attempt, adjusted yards per attempt by over a yard, rating by 8 rating points, net yards per attempt, and adjusted net yards per attempt. The Ravens had a historic offense. They had the number 1 rushing offense in the history of the NFL by yards per attempt, and the passing offense was also was like 3rd best ever, like 84 Dolphins and 2000 Rams. Like that was their contemporaries, or 2016 Falcons. It's one of the other historic offenses. It's just a shame. But I digress.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's just the harsh reality of the NFL. Something will always leave us very disappointed, but we just got to move on because off seasons is here at this point.
It is here.
Not started the new league year just yet, but some things have already shaken out. Like I mentioned, something that we were going to touch on is right after we got off of the air. I was given heartbreaking news. I checked the Twitter timeline, and Cooper Kupp tweeted that he has been informed that the Rams are going to be seeking out a trade. This is one of those bittersweet things where it's kind of like, all right, I can understand why the Rams have decided that they're ready to move on from Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
While with that being said, though, with what he has meant to this team and this city and this franchise, I feel like Cooper Kupp has sort of earned himself the right to kind of be the man to decide whether or not he wants to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Rams should not have made that decision for him. I will say that obviously these past few years, his performance has definitely dropped off to not being anywhere near where it was. And honestly, you could include 2022 in that list. You're highlighting 2021. That was his explosive, like best receiving season of all time, basically.
All right, I mean, hey, it's up there. He was 17 yards shy of Calvin Johnson's record, but he also led the league in touchdowns and yards and on offensive player
Triple
of the
crown,
year,
Super Bowl MVP, offensive player of the year, Super Bowl champion, caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
It's as great as you could ever ask for. So.
And then the year after, he is one of many season-ending injuries that the Rams had to deal with.
And then he was 90 yards a game. Like
he was good.
Yeah, it wasn't quite 2021 level, but I mean 90 yards a game. I'll pull up the old calculator so I can do him justice, but 90.2 yards a game over a 17-game season, that's a 1,500 yard season. So he's on pace for 1,500 yards. He would have had 1,000 yards in 2018. He had 1,000 yards in 2019. He was 26 yards shy in 15 games in 2020. 90 yards a game in 2022. Even last year, like a down year, he only, quote unquote, only 61.4 yards a game. That's 1,000 yard season in the 17 game era. So,
yeah.
And then, of course, the playoffs here, you have the historic run in 2021. But for his career, 82 yards a game. So sign me up for that.
The thing is, though, like after he won the Super Bowl, every year, 2022, 2023, 2024, every single year he was dealing with an injury that caused him to miss time. And that kind of thing can have a lasting impact on you in your career. And you could tell with the Rams offense that he was not anywhere near as explosive as he could be. His explosiveness and his ability to gain separation from whoever it is that's covering him is why the Rams offense had been as explosive as it was in years past with him. And without that separation, I don't know where Splash is going, but without that separation and without anything like that, it sort of seemed to hinder the offense quite a bit. And it turned in, I don't know where Splash went. I feel like my point is like totally being interrupted here, but I totally feel like that is a factor in why the Rams decided to move on. Back.
I had a blackberries all over the floor or blueberries all over the floor emergency. Yes.
Unfortunate, but yeah.
Thanks, Grams.
Yeah, I was just talking about like Cup not being able to gain separation is like the reason why the explosion wasn't there, and it's hurting the Rams offense. Yeah. Sean McVay likes an explosive offense, and that's why he's a huge fan of Puka Nacua. That's why a lot of fans are taking a good look at Jordan Whittington. That's why a lot of fans are pretty upset that Tutu Atwell didn't get the chances that he got, because every time he did get a chance, he was explosive.
Yeah.
He was either making a crazy deep catch or he was drawing PI. And he's probably gone this year now. And it's kind of a bummer that he didn't get the opportunities that he probably deserved. So, especially with how high he was drafted, that's kind of a miss by the Rams to not use him as much as he should have been. But you can see why a lot of fans liked him. It's the explosiveness that made the offense as strong as it was. And I think that for the Rams this offseason is going to be a priority. While it does suck to lose Cooper Kupp, and while his performance definitely wasn't near what it was the Super Bowl year, if you can get an offensive weapon, you can go out and maybe get like, I don't know, Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins even, or if you could draft somebody too. Like I'm being told that a lot of Rams fans like Jaden Higgins in the draft.
Okay, I need to do more receiver research, but yes.
Yeah.
I know Ted at Arizona. Bear down, go Cats, baby. Where do you think Cooper Kupp lands? First off, do you think he's traded? Yes or no?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know where. I that's the thing is that the Rams are kind of also doing the thing where it's like, oh, we have to move you, but we'll do you right and kind of like let you go decide where you feel is best to go.
I'll give you some options, and you
Kansas
let me
City.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah, Kansas City, Buffalo. Those just make sense to me. Teams that could use a receiver, like just a solid, wide receiver that runs good routes, blocks. I think Baltimore's kind of full on the route runner type. So that like archetype, you already have Bateman, and like Bateman and Kupp in theory do the same thing. So Pittsburgh to me makes some sense. New England, I know that's probably not like a winning situation, but you have a young quarterback in Drake May. Houston's pretty full. Indy, that could be interesting. Jacksonville, Tennessee, they're not sending him to the Chargers. You'd kind of be redundant with Ladd as well. Denver could be fun as like a Judy replacement, like a route runner type. So Denver, Philly doesn't need him. Washington, he would be a really fun fit in Washington.
Yeah, I feel like he would if he can get his sort of separation back, but that's just the kind of thing. It's like,
yeah, and he would just have to be a number 2 in Washington.
Yeah,
in Minnesota, he could be a number 3.
I don't know if I would love to see him in Detroit with a reunion with Goff.
Oh no, I don't think he would go to Detroit.
I don't think he would.
I think he would be redundant with Amon-Ra.
I'll tell you what, I want 5 minutes alone in a dark room with a guy who made a graphic suggesting it was Deebo Samuel for Cooper Kupp. Somebody made that graphic with the jersey swaps. I want 5 minutes with that person. For legal reasons, that's an idle threat. I'm not actually going to do anything.
We have our NFL purge night. You just visit him.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just want to talk.
Carolina, I really like Thielen in that role because like Thielen's oh my god, Thielen's a perfect wide receiver for Bryce Young. Atlanta. Ooh.
I just realized I don't know if I should say that is an idle threat. That's not a threat at all. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I'll say that.
All right. Jack, walk with me. 2025 Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Cooper Kupp.
Pretty viable.
That I really like that. I really like that. That's three like different archetypes of receiver. You have the deep threat in Mooney, who's great as a deep. Darnell Mooney had 997 yards or something. He had like a Devontae Adams season.
I wonder if the Rams
992.
I wonder if the Rams maybe try to get a player out of it though too. I don't think they will. I think this is going to be another Les Snead special where he trades Kupp for like a half-eaten Pringle can or something like that, meaning like a day 3 pick.
And then you draft Aaron Donald.
It'll be like a pick swap too or something stupid like that. But I feel like the they're not in a vacuum. I feel like if the Rams are going to move Cooper Kupp, I would obviously, like, if this was Madden, I'd be trying to get a player out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't expect that to be the case. I wonder maybe they can make a move like that in Atlanta, though. I wonder maybe they try to get, like...
I'm just saying that is just an exciting trio of receivers that's not, like, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp. Because obviously that would be great. But, man, because you get the deep route runner like Mooney, you get the slot more so in Cooper Kupp, and then you have like the do-it-all X in Drake London. London's really freaking good, man. I'm glad he has a quarterback. I'm excited. This is like the 8th year in a row I've been excited to watch the Falcons, and they always burn me, but I'm not putting a win expectation. I just want to watch them play football.
Yeah, if the Falcons did well, that's kind of the thing too, is that they're not like a team that's hateable really, unless you're a Saints fan. Like the Falcons are like, I don't have an issue with them at all. So
yeah, and they beat you in the playoffs once, so that's saying something.
One time, but then we won the Super Bowl. They're the ones that blew the 28-3 lead.
Okay, yeah. I did want to draw this comparison. This Eagles team feels a lot like the 2017 Eagles, and not from like a Foles perspective, but from like a dominant buzzsaw. But they could have lost the first playoff game. Well, in this case, the divisional round playoff game, because Julio Jones had it in his hands, didn't bring it in. And then they buzzsaw through Minnesota, and they allowed 33 points in the Super Bowl, but they were an offensive buzzsaw in that game, and they got pressure to Brady and Brandon Graham. I think it was Graham forced the sack. Barnett recovered the fumble. I might have flipped that, but
here's the other thing that I just remembered. The Falcons were the team that beat us so senseless that it required Jeff Fisher to be fired. They extended Jeff Fisher to like a 2-year deal in the middle of the 2016 season, their first year back in LA. And then the week after that, absolutely mollywomped by the Falcons. I think it was like 44-6 or something like that. It was not close. Like, I remember turning that game on and I was like, let's go. I'm excited. I wasn't like, I obviously like,
yeah, 42-14.
Yeah, I hadn't watched football for some reason. Like my schedule, I think, was like on and off. So like actually watching games was kind of tricky, but that was like the first time in like a couple of weeks that like I was like able to watch the game that day, and I was like, let's go. I'm excited. Rams are finally back on. Let's do it. And then they fumbled the kickoff. And it's like, oh god,
Tough
Falcons.
scenes, man.
That was but then they fired Jeff Fisher right after that, so
there you go. There's always a positive.
And that's what led to Sean McVay being hired, and I would not trade it for anything. So
yeah. Good job, everybody. All right. You want to touch on the NBA trade deadline a little bit before we
let's do that. First of all, I think it should be noted that Luka Doncic, obviously the big name that was moved in the deadline, he is set to make his Laker debut tonight. Crypto.com Arena is currently full of number 77 shirts that are being placed in the seats, so that'll be cool.
A couple trades: De'Aaron Fox from the Kings to the Spurs. I think that's probably the biggest one. Jimmy Butler's a Warrior. DeAndre Hunter is a Cav. That's important to me. Outside of that, I don't think any other like all-star level player. I'm not saying DeAndre Hunter is an all-star. That's just the most important move the best team in the East made. But one trade that thought would be a big move, but ended up falling through: Mark Williams to the Lakers. The Lakers said no. This is what the reporting did not say that. I'm reading it as the Lakers team doctor said no on Mark Williams. Unfortunate. And it's after the trade deadline, so they can't make any moves outside the buyout market.
Here is what I am of the understanding of. The trade happened, the team doctors looked at him, said, and like at that point, the trade deadline is passed, so you can't make any amendments to the deal. So at that point, I have two options. Either you just say, screw it, we keep him, we hold on to him, and we just let it play out as it does.
We're actually getting rid of a few
or I can hear your background.
Yeah, my bad.
It's either that or I'm gonna wait for him to get back. I want to finish my point while he's here. Live show, folks. Things happen. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. But I just want to make sure that I can finish my point and like we can go back and forth on it instantly. So hope everybody is doing well. I guess I'll just drop in a reminder to like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of stuff coming out soon, and we'll touch more on that at the end. But okay, let me finish my point. So they can either say no. They can either say yes or they could say no. They could say, screw it, we're going to reverse the trade, send everybody back to their original spot. And the fact, Mark Williams had problems with his back, I think, is what was going on.
But he was even in fewer games than Joel Embiid. So that's the bar here. He's like Embiid makes like 47% of his games. Mark Williams is like 40%.
The back was not the problem that caused his physical to be failed. And the fact that like the Lakers had the option to hold on to him anyway and still said no, something's wrong with Mike Williams. Mark Williams. Not Mike Williams, sorry, Mark Williams.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit bad in this case because it's like that's just like you should probably go get that looked at before you try to keep playing basketball.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I understand is like this was a deal where the Lakers were trying to find somebody who could be their next like center for at least the next 4 or 5 years, probably.
Yeah, you're looking for your Andrew Bynum for the Kobe,
and
the Kobe and Pau years, basically.
You gave up a lot to do it. You gave up Dalton Connect in the deal, and it's like I think the Lakers wanted to be absolutely certain that he could be healthy enough for that to be the case, and that ultimately did not happen. And the Lakers they took a look at him. They said, "No, sorry, it's not. We don't believe that you're fit enough right now to be that role for us," and I think it's just what had to happen. Now, I will say I do feel not too negative about the deal because I was pretty upset about losing Dalton Connect.
Yeah, fair.
And I am glad that he's back, and I hope he just takes this opportunity to prove the front office wrong and be like, listen, I know you guys moved me, but I can ball out for you guys. Just let me take the second chance and prove that I still got it. because he was on a heater from 3 too. He was figuring his shot out a lot too before he got moved. So I think the Lakers should continue to look at Dalton Knecht as somebody that can be with their franchise going forward. Now, they still need a center.
They need a center bad.
Jackson Hayes has been playing well for the time being, but that's not a long-term solution.
No.
He's good depth. He's good for what they have in the immediate future. But at some point, I think during the All-Star break, you need to look to the free agency market and get another big. Now, the irony is, and I hate that I'm saying it like it's a good thing, because it's not a good thing at all, but Anthony Davis got hurt. I think in the middle of his Mavs debut, he got
an unbelievable half. He had like 28 and 8 at the half, and then he gets hurt. It's like, oh, come on, AD.
Yeah.
He had 26, 16, and 7 in 31 minutes against the Rockets in his Mavs debut. And 3 blocks. So.
Yeah, tough scenes there. Feel bad for Anthony Davis, but I'm not gonna even like make a backhanded comment like the Lakers dodged a bullet or something, because you never know with injuries; they come up out of nowhere. So,
right, and the Lakers are in this really. This has kind of forced them into a really tough spot, because you don't really have the size and the rebounding and the defense more so to compete at the highest level. Like, who's guarding Nikola Jokic? Like, I hate to be that reductive here, but like, who's guarding Jokic?
That's like a weird thing that was being brought up like immediately after the deal, because like, who's guarding Jokic? Sure, who's guarding Luka though? Like
that's a valid point.
That's kind of the point that I'm maintaining as a Laker fan right now, and that I'm telling everybody is like, right now they've got the offense that can outrun another team, and that's kind of what their best way to win games with Luka is, as their roster currently stands.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you're still gonna need a new big.
Yeah. Like I love the offense, right? You have Luka, LeBron. You essentially have 2 point guards on the floor, and you can spread it out with shooting whoever's making their shots at that point, right? Awesome. Reeves can create as in your second unit, and if LeBron or Luka sits, right, so they're not going to play 48 minutes a game. So let's say they play, I don't know, 38. Let me try to map this out in my head. So say they both play 36, right? Maybe it's they play 24 together. One plays 12, the other plays 12, right? So Reeves, I think, is great for those 12 minutes. LeBron is there by himself, and 12 minutes Luke is there by himself. So you have 2 ball creators, ball handlers, offensive shot creators at all times. And then you have like 10 minutes with all 3 of them, right? That makes sense in your closing lineup. Then I guess Hayes is your 5. I don't love Hayes's like size. He's 7 feet. I don't think he's not
played well. It's weird because he has played pretty well these last few games for the Lakers. Like after the Luka trade, they haven't really had any of their new pieces come in. A few of them, I guess, but like Luka hasn't been able to play until tonight. And it's like, and like the Mark Williams thing, obviously that happened. So Jackson Hayes was kind of their center, and he hasn't played bad. But like you said, his size is like.
Yeah, he's 7 feet tall, but he's not. He's like listed at 220, and like Jokic is just gonna like eat that for breakfast, man. Like that's just bully ball. That's just barbecue chicken, to steal a line from Gus Johnson.
Barbecue chicken alert.
Yeah. So I like the 3 ball handlers. Obviously, you have Luka and LeBron. You have 2 of the top 10 players in basketball. Fine, like absolutely, that can like win you games, but. You got to.
But how many games?
You have to get some stops, right? You have to get some stops, and like I know the Lakers are going to be good enough to run the whoever offense, right? They can give the ball to LeBron and let him cook, or give the ball to Luka, let him cook. I'm excited to see LeBron in an off-ball role. There were times, like in his Miami days, when he would defer to Wade, and he was not like full deference to Wade. He was still the alpha on the team, but he would like take some possessions off, and he was a dead eye. Like he had 40% of his threes in 2013, 38% of his threes in 2014. And with the Lakers, He's at 36% for his career, but the last 2 years, LeBron James, his last 117 games, has hit 40% of his threes. You're telling me you give him easier shots? You're saying he's hitting spot up jumpers? Sign me up for that. Honestly, like we could see like a different version of like prime LeBron, barely prime LeBron, but I could see like a hyper efficient guy, like even more efficient than he's previously been, and he's obviously like a quite efficient player. I could see like that even ticking up more. This year he's 39% from three. Last year he was 41% from three. So I could see even like 42% from three for LeBron. I don't know if Basketball Reference has like open shots shooting,
uncontested shots.
Yeah. Let's see.
In case you're curious, by the way, about how LeBron feels about this whole thing, he's literally wearing a Luka tee in like warm-ups before the game.
Yeah.
Also, the Hollywood sign has been changed. They took the two L's and turned them upside down to be a number 77.
Nice.
And they painted them yellow, so that's cool.
Nice. So LeBron from the corner this season hasn't been great, but there's only a handful of shots here, and I don't have any context of are these like open running jumpers. Yeah, I don't have any context. I would imagine LeBron will figure it out. Like that's sort of like an underrated aspect. I think LeBron and Luka will figure it out. So
yeah, that's the thing is like you need the defense, you need the pieces to be able to win games on both ends of the court, but at the end of the day, like that's the clip that I saw that I brought up is like who's stopping Jokic versus who's stopping Luka and LeBron.
That's a valid argument. Argument.
Yeah, it's like Lakers games are probably going to turn into shootouts at this point, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah. All right. Any final words?
I don't have.
As I'm getting arrested.
Don't have too much more to touch on there. I think that kind of wraps up like what has been pretty interesting week in sports. Got the Super Bowl out of the way, so now we turn our attention to the off-season, incoming free agents and stuff like that when it comes to football. But baseball's not far away. Spring training starts, I think, next week. I think Dodgers pitchers and catchers reported today.
Granted,
I think they had to
away from spring training games.
Yeah, granted, I think the Dodgers had to report a little bit early because they have the game in Japan, the two games in Japan to start the season, which both of those will be, I would not even imagine trying to buy a ticket for one of those.
Ichiro is throwing out the first pitch of the season, by the way.
That's incredible. You got Ichiro there throwing out the first pitch. You got Shohei Ohtani. You got Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki.
Who do you think starts opening day for the Dodgers on the mound?
That's a good question.
Like, I would think, like, Yamamoto, Sasaki, just duh. But I also think Tyler Glasnow makes a lot of sense. Like, Snell makes a lot of sense.
Glasnow and Snell are probably my first two choices, but I would think maybe Yamamoto gets a start because of where they are.
Okay. I don't think they're going to do this to Roki. Imagine opening day in Japan.
He's the starter opening day.
Roki Sasaki throws out the first pitch of the season.
I wonder if Ohtani plays the field in the first two games.
Ooh.
Probably not. But I think he's healthy enough to do that now because he at some point this season he's going to pitch. It's just a matter of when. Mm-hmm. And then
I think when we get closer to opening day, we can do like a sort of, you can rank you can rank the pitchers based on like WAR or innings or something. Ohtani has played in the field before. 2021, he played 8 games in right field, 1 game in left, which that is a whopping. Can I have fielding data, please? Baseball Reference.
I think something that hurts that though, that like the prospect of that is the fact that they added a rule where like if you're pitching in a game, because like what Ohtani would do is he would pitch in games, and then as soon as he was being pulled from pitching, then he would just go play the outfield or something like that.
He only has 8 career innings in the outfield.
But then when they changed that rule, so like nowadays, if he were to pitch and get pulled from pitching, then he's just done. He can't pitch again. I don't even know if he can hit again either. But I would want him hitting because 50-50 season, but
okay. So looking at his game logs, the game he played in left, he started in left, or he played left in DH. So and then he had a game he was pitcher in right field, pinch hitter moved into right, right fielder and pitcher, right fielder and pitcher. Let me look at the box score there. So he moved from pitcher to right field, and that ate up their DH. No, they had that was the equivalent of their DH. This was like old rules. So the Angels, he wasn't like DH in the lineup. He was the pitcher in the lineup, and the A's hit with a pitch, or the A's had a DH. So the game he did play left one game.
Interesting.
That was not a pinch hitter game.
The point that I have made is that like Ohtani can basically play anywhere. So I don't. He won't pitch in the first part of the season, obviously, but things will change. So I'm looking forward to
this was a position player pitching, I believe. Yeah, Anthony Ben Boom came in. Yeah, so Ben Boom moved from left to pitcher. Ohtani moved from DH to pitch or to left field. So the team lost their DH, but it was in the bottom of the eighth, and Ben Boom's like an actual hitter. So yeah, he's a catcher. That's strange. Okay, that's enough baseball for now.
Bottom line, baseball's not far away. If you're like me and you also like motorsports, NASCAR's not far away either, because the Super Bowl means it's just 1 week to Daytona, as you see with the Dale Earnhardt meme everywhere. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think the NHL Four Nations face-off is starting this week too, which will be fun. We haven't had best on best international play in a little while in hockey, so
love to see it.
To seeing that.
All right, well, that'll do it for me.
Yep, that's all I got. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up for episode 107 of the Sports Desk. Next week, we dive into more free agency stuff or something like that, probably, whatever comes up in the NFL world. Yeah, we'll touch on everything going on there. So, in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring a ding-ding, the Le'Veon bell, the notification bell, so you can get notified when we go live, when a new video drops, whenever we do anything. Splash, now that the off season is here, all that Madden content we've been talking about, we can finally do it. So I'm looking forward to putting on a show there. Yeah, and other than that, also follow us on X. Social handles are below, at the Sports Desk 99 or at Mr. Splashman 19 at Starblade 125. That is going to do it, though, and we will see you guys next week. And as always, remember, Super Bowl champion Aaron Donald trains with knives. I just realized I did it wrong. We have to play the outro one more time.
No.